Hey guys, it's Jerem here on Metal Music Meltdown, back with another video. Whatever today, guys, is another great video idea. I've did a couple of these recently with the guys. I did my top 10 male hard rock singer slash frontman of all time, and also my top 10 male metal vocalist and frontman of all time. So I wanted to give light on the women and do a couple separate lists for them as well. I was originally going to mix them in with the guys, but there's too many great female front women or singers out there that I really wanted to give praise to. So I decided to do two separate lists for them. So this will be the top 10 rock front women of all time, or vocalist in my opinion. Again, this is not a definitive list. There's going to be some people missing from this, of course. But this is just my taste and the women I really love in the rock world that I've always listened to growing up, or more recent years, some newer bands that I've got into. Most of my picks are pretty, honestly, pretty obvious, I'd say, like pretty low-hanging fruit, if you will. They're the singers that are well known for a reason. They're just huge names in the previous rock world. Most of them kind of were back from the 70s, 60s, 80s. There's only one in here that's more recent. But let's jump right in, guys. At number 10, I have Grace Slick, who was also, she's obviously retired now, but she was in Jefferson Airplane. Really good, just like acid rock, psychedelic rock, folk rock kind of music. She just had this really kind of eerie, kind of haunting voice to her, but matched the music perfectly. Always loved the sound of her voice, and her vocal delivery was very almost monotone, but in the best way. It just had a really haunting, kind of cool feel to it. Always dug her vocals. Really cool. At number 9, I went with Debbie Harry, again, American singer-songwriter, obviously known for the band Blondie. She had not really a big, raspy kind of rock voice. Hers was kind of like cut through, like it was very sharp and sweet sounding. Kind of was very sharp and like cut through like glass. She just had that really cool voice to her, very distinguishable. As soon as you heard her voice, you knew it was Blondie right away. So many great hits and just some big songs listening to growing up. And I still listen to Blondie to this day. Really good stuff. At number 8, another monster female artist from the 80s, Pat Benatar. Didn't get much bigger than her from the 80s. She was one of the icons from that period. So many platinum records she put out and just some iconic songs. And she just had such a nice rock edge to her and like a really powerful voice. Just used to belt out those tunes. Just really, really good singer. Distinct look with the short hair. She had like the 80s kind of vibe with the heavier makeup and spandex and stuff. Very heavy in the fashion world as well. And just a very influential singer and just massive in the 80s. Like I said, it doesn't get much bigger than her in the 80s. There was a couple female singers in that time frame that were just massive. At number 7, I have kind of a more recent one, more from the 90s, Dolores O'Riordan. I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, but she was the lead singer from the Cranberries. Rest in peace. She definitely passed away much too young, and she died at age 46. But I love her vocals, love the Cranberries. I did grow up listening to a lot of 90s alternatives, so this was one band I really listened to quite a bit. And of course their big hits, Zombie, everybody knows, and some other songs, but she just had a really cool kind of like tone to her voice. You could still kind of hear her accent, which is unusual in singers. Usually that kind of goes away when they sing, but had kind of like a really cool kind of tone to it, and sound is very distinct. It didn't sound like anyone else. Very powerful, very emotional behind the message she was trying to get across. Always loved her vocals, loved the Cranberries, and she had to make my list. Number 6 might be an artist that any of my American viewers might not really know too much, but she was pretty big in Canada. Sass Jordan. She wrote a lot of good rock albums early on. She had a couple pop albums as well. But I love her early rock albums like Rats and Present was good from the 90s. Racine was a good album too. But she just has a really raspy, powerful, kind of gritty voice. Very, very like Janis Joplin like, but a little bit different, not quite as intense. But always love her vocals. Super underrated vocalist in my opinion. She should have been well known across the globe. She didn't really break out as much outside of Canada, but she should have been massive. She was like a great singer. At number 5, I went with Johanna Sadonis. She's from the more current band Lucifer. They're like an occult rock, like a new band that just brings back that 70s occult rock kind of sound. Satanic lyrics, just really groovy 70s occult rock music. And her vocals just kind of soar over the top. Great front woman. I think she's from Germany. I think the rest of the band's from Sweden, I think. But she's a German singer, really good, big, powerful voice soaring over the top of heavy guitars. Great front woman too. I've never seen them live in person, but I've watched a lot of videos of them playing live in Europe, and they just look like they kill it. Just big show, and she's very confident on stage and just kills it every time. Great vocalist. And my top 4 here are some of the most iconic women in rock history, along with some of the ones I've already mentioned. But Joan Jett, I have at number 4. Like many people, I Love Rock and Roll was a massive song that everyone loved when they were a kid or younger. Still a great tune today. But Joan Jett just had this kind of attitude to her. She emphasized like rock and roll. Like, she reminds me of a female version of like a Lemmy from Motorhead, or like somebody like that. Just somebody that emphasizes rock and roll, the whole vibe, the spirit of rock and roll, the way she dressed, the way she looked, the way she performed on stage. She's just an amazing performer, really good vocals, fun songs, and just that don't give a fuck attitude. And love Joan Jett, really good songwriter and singer. Number 3, of course, we have to have Stevie Nicks from Fleetwood Mac, and of course her solo career. I prefer her in Fleetwood Mac overall a little bit more, but just a beautiful voice. A lot of her solo career was really good too. Some really catchy, big, poppy rock songs, but her voice is undeniable, and I instantly one of the people I thought of when I was making my list. Big reason why Fleetwood Mac was massive. Her voice was just so angelic but powerful at the same time, and she had to make my list. And number 2 and 1, I kind of debated on where to put because I love both of these women and singers immensely. But number 2, I decided to put Janis Joplin. Janis is, being kindly, a freak of nature. Like, she is explosive, she's raw, she has the grittiness to her voice and just power and emotion. When you watch her live performances from like Woodstock and like big shows like that, way back then, just insane performance, and she just gets like lost in a trance, and it's hard to explain. Like, Janis is just a whole other thing, but her voice is so powerful at such a young age, belted out these massive songs, really raspy, but her stage presence is a big thing for her. She was just encapsulated, like you couldn't take your eyes off of her, and it's just sad that she died so young. She could have lasted in the industry for like 50 years and just belted out platinum album after platinum album, which she was massive. And at number 1, guys, I had to go with Ann Wilson. Nobody has, and she's a really good front woman. Like, she's good on stage, but I put Ann Wilson at number 1 more strictly because of her vocal abilities. I've never seen a woman be able to pound out a song like Ann Wilson does. Her voice is so controlled and powerful and massive, and it fills a room. It's just like insane. If you've never seen it, go watch the tribute she was a part of for Led Zeppelin at that tribute show where she performed Stairway to Heaven with Jason Bonham on drums. It'll blow your mind. Like, she killed it. Like, her this is when she was like, 70 or 60 something. Back in her heyday with Heart. She's from Heart, of course, everyone knows. But she has a massive voice. It's just so bombastic and heavy and like full rich tone to her voice, very controlled. Love Ann Wilson, best female singer, not even in just rock, hard rock, including the metal singers that I'll do next. In my opinion, vocal ability, Ann Wilson might be, I think, the best singer, female singer for rock and metal. But that's my list, guys. Let me know down below who you would pick. Obviously, there's people I didn't put on here, but I can't put everyone, unfortunately. And I will do a metal list probably the next week or two, so stay tuned for that. And keep it metal.